Losing a spouse is one of the most painful experiences a person can go through. Not only is it the pain of loss, but it is also the overwhelming amount of unexpected decisions that come with it. In times like these, it is easy to act on emotions, out of loneliness or pressure from others. However, some hasty decisions can lead to regret, financial hardship, or lasting emotional pain, making the recovery process more difficult. The truth is, everyone deals with grief differently. But there are things that everyone should think carefully about before saying yes or making important decisions. In this article, we will discuss 5 things to avoid after losing a spouse, mistakes that many people make unwittingly, only to realize later that they were not truly ready. These pitfalls can make the loss process more complicated, but understanding them in advance can help protect your mental, financial, and physical health. You may feel uncertain about your next steps in life. But the most important thing right now is not to make sudden changes, but to take the time to settle your emotions, regain clarity of thought, and make decisions based on calm rather than pain. Remember, there is no pressure to make a decision right away. Only by giving yourself enough time to adjust to your new reality can you truly understand what is best for you. Let's explore 5 common mistakes that many people make after losing a spouse and how to avoid them, so that you can move forward with a sense of security, respect for the past, and hope for the future. When losing a spouse, many people fall into a state of confusion and disorientation. In the midst of grief, important financial decisions can become invisible burdens that not everyone is clear-headed enough to handle immediately. However, one of the most common mistakes that many people make is making financial decisions too early, when emotions are still too turbulent. These decisions may include selling the house, investing large sums of money in a plan, dividing assets immediately, or hastily changing wills and insurance policies. The reason many people choose to settle their finances early often comes from pressure, whether it is from themselves, from their family, or from those around them. Some people feel the need to rearrange their lives as quickly as possible to fill the void left by their spouse. Others are influenced by the advice of loved ones, or even financial experts, forgetting that they are still in a state of deep grief. Decisions made during this time are often driven by emotion rather than reason, and this can lead to unpredictable consequences. A common example is that many people rush to sell their home after the death of their spouse, believing that they can no longer live in a space filled with memories. However, selling a home without careful consideration can lead to regret later. A home is not only an asset but also a place that holds memories and stability. In times of grief, such a decision can deepen the pain instead of providing relief. Similarly, some people rush to invest their insurance money or savings in risky businesses or investments because they are looking for a quick change. But when the mind is not stable, it is difficult to make wise choices and avoid financial pitfalls. A safer approach is to put off major financial decisions for at least 6 months to a year until you can think things through. If you need to make some important financial decisions right away, seek the advice of a trusted and experienced financial professional, rather than acting on your emotions or listening to unconventional advice. Most importantly, give yourself time to adjust to your new life before making any decisions that could have a lasting impact on your future. While the loss of a loved one is inevitable, it is important that you do not get caught up in making bad decisions based on your emotions. Take time to think, consult with people you trust, and only act when you feel clear-headed and ready. Losing a spouse is one of the most painful losses a person can experience. The profound grief can cause people to withdrawing from friends, family, and activities they once enjoyed. This can lead to self-isolation, a dangerous state that can worsen grief, prolong recovery, and negatively affect physical and mental health. However, many people do not realize they are in this state, as the feeling of loneliness after a loss often comes on slowly and silently. Self-isolation can arise for a variety of reasons. Some people feel that no one can truly understand the pain they are experiencing, so they choose to avoid conversations or social activities. The presence of others can remind them of their deceased spouse, triggering feelings of sadness and loss. Others feel guilty about continuing to live without their partner, leading to a psychological avoidance of joy and relationships. In addition, feelings of fatigue and depression can also make them lose the motivation to maintain relationships around them. However, self-isolation does not help ease the pain, but on the contrary, can make the situation worse. When a person loses connection with the world around them, they are more likely to fall into a state of depression, anxiety, and may even experience health problems such as a weakened immune system, insomnia, or eating disorders. In addition, long-term isolation also causes them to lose important emotional support from relatives and friends who can help them get through this difficult time. One way to avoid falling into a state of self-isolation is to maintain the habits of communicating and connecting with those around them, even if only on a small level. This could include short phone conversations with loved ones, lighthearted get-togethers with friends, or joining support groups for people experiencing similar losses. These activities not only help alleviate feelings of loneliness, but also provide an opportunity to share feelings and find understanding and empathy from others. If reconnecting with the outside world is too difficult, a gentler approach is to find activities that are personal but still provide a sense of connection, such as journaling, volunteering, or simply spending time in places with other people, such as parks or cafes. While it doesn't necessarily mean engaging in conversation, just being in the presence of others can help alleviate feelings of loneliness and gradually encourage reconnection. Losing a loved one is a huge challenge, but it's important not to let yourself spiral into isolation. Remember, grief is not something you have to endure alone. Opening up to others can help make the healing process easier and provide the support and love everyone needs during the most difficult times. 3. After losing a spouse, many people fall into a state of severe mental breakdown, and one of the most common consequences is that they begin to neglect their health. The pain of loss is so great that a person can forget about their own basic needs, from eating, resting to regular medical checkups. This not only affects the physical but also aggravates the mental state, causing them to sink deeper into a negative spiral. Neglecting health after loss can happen in many different ways. Some people lose their appetite, eat irregularly, or even fast for long periods of time because they no longer have the motivation to take care of themselves. On the contrary, some people turn to fast food and processed foods as a way to soothe their sadness, leading to uncontrolled weight gain and related health problems. Sleep is also severely affected. Many people lose sleep, tossing and turning at night because of repressed memories and emotions, while others sleep too much to escape reality. Not only does eating and sleeping fall by the wayside, exercise and maintaining healthcare habits are neglected. People who previously exercised regularly may give up completely because they no longer feel interested or have enough energy to continue. Regular health checkups are also easily delayed because people are no longer interested in monitoring their body's problems. In particular, people with chronic diseases such as diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease may neglect taking their medications and treatments, leading to their condition becoming more serious. Prolonged neglect of health not only causes negative physical effects, but also has a serious impact on the mind. When the body is weak, the immune system is weakened, people are susceptible to infections, pain, or exhaustion, making the spirit more depressed and disoriented. From there, they are at risk of falling into depression, anxiety, or other psychological problems, making the recovery process after loss even more difficult. So how to overcome this situation? The first step is to realize the importance of health, not only for yourself, but also for your loved ones who are still around. Setting small goals such as eating a nutritious meal every day, taking a light walk, or getting enough sleep can help gradually improve your health. If you find it too difficult to adjust yourself, you can seek support from friends, family, or nutritionists, doctors to receive appropriate advice. In addition, participating in gentle activities such as yoga, meditation, or simply going out to breathe fresh air can also help improve mental and physical health. These small changes, when maintained regularly, will help the body regain balance, thereby supporting the psychological recovery process. Losing a partner is a big shock, but it is important not to let the pain overshadow your responsibility to yourself. Taking care of your health does not mean forgetting the person who has passed away, but it is a way to continue living strongly, appreciating yourself and what is still ahead. For after losing a partner, many people feel so empty, lonely, and heartbroken that they rush into a new relationship too quickly, hoping to fill the void in their hearts. They believe that having someone else by their side will help them ease their pain, bring them comfort, and bring them back to their old self. However, rushing into a new relationship before they are truly ready can lead to many negative consequences, not only for themselves, but also for the new person entering their life. One of the biggest problems with rushing into a relationship too soon is that they are not emotionally stable. The pain of loss is still there, and instead of facing it, they try to hide it by seeking attention from someone else. They may not really love the new person, but are just looking for a replacement for the lost partner. This is not only unfair to yourself, but also to the new person, because they may be drawn into a relationship that does not come from sincere feelings, but is just a temporary filling. In addition, people who rush to find new love often have not truly healed the wounds of loss. They may bring along habits, expectations, and comparisons with the old person, unintentionally putting pressure on the new person. This can easily lead to conflicts, misunderstandings, and even hurt both. If they have not truly accepted the departure of their previous partner, they may fall into a state of internal struggle between the past and the present, making the new relationship tense and unsustainable. Not only does it affect the individual, rushing into a new relationship can also impact family and friends. Children, if any, may find it difficult to accept that their parents are quickly with someone else, leading to conflicts in the family. Friends and family may worry that they are not ready and are making hasty decisions. This can disrupt close relationships, leaving them feeling isolated or misunderstood. So how can you avoid this situation? The most important thing is to give yourself time to heal. The pain of loss needs to be acknowledged and faced, rather than trying to bury it with a new relationship. Take time to connect with yourself, understand what you really need, rather than letting loneliness control you. Instead of looking for a replacement, focus on building your personal life, maintaining relationships with friends and family, and finding activities that bring you joy. If you feel like you need someone to share with, you can join a support group or seek out a psychologist for listening and guidance. When you feel truly ready, a new relationship will come more naturally and sustainably. There is nothing wrong with seeking love after a loss, but if you rush into it, it can deepen the pain and cause unnecessary hurt. Give yourself time to heal, so that when you enter a new relationship, it is from a place of readiness and true love, not just to fill a void. 5. Keeping the deceased's belongings unchanged. Losing a loved one is a huge emotional shock, causing many people to fall into a state of grief, regret, and not wanting to face reality. One of the common ways that many people choose to maintain a connection with the deceased is to keep all of their belongings unchanged, as a way to cling to memories and a sense of familiarity. They keep their room, clothes, and personal belongings as if the person were still present, hoping that by doing so, they can continue to feel the presence of the deceased. However, doing this can sometimes prolong the pain and hinder the spiritual healing process. Keeping things unchanged may stem from a fear of losing the last memories of the deceased. They worry that if they clean or change those items, the memories and connections will be erased over time. This makes them stuck in the past, making it difficult to open up to the present and the future. Although objects can bring comfort for a certain period of time, if they do not know how to let go, they can become a barrier preventing them from moving on. Holding on to too many belongings of the deceased can also have a negative impact on their spirit. Every time they see those items, they are reminded of the loss, causing the pain to recur continuously. This can lead to a state of melancholy, depression, or guilt if they intend to change or clean up. They may put pressure on themselves that letting go of belongings means forgetting the deceased, when in fact, memories and love are not intangible objects, but in the memories and emotions in the heart. Not only does it affect the individual's spirit, keeping all the belongings can also affect the people around them. Families, especially children, can feel pressured to live in a space frozen in time, where everything reminds them of the loss. This can make it difficult for them to adapt to a new life, disrupt the family balance, and prolong the collective grief. So how to let go gently and without feeling guilty? First, understand that letting go does not mean forgetting. You can choose to keep a few meaningful mementos as a way to remember, but you do not have to keep everything. Take the time to rearrange your belongings. Maybe donate useful items to help others, turning the loss into a positive and meaningful action. In addition, you can create a small corner in the house to place important mementos, instead of keeping the whole room or all the belongings. This can be a photo, a souvenir, or a notebook recording beautiful memories. This helps maintain a connection without getting stuck in the past. Most importantly, allow yourself to move on without feeling guilty. The deceased would have wanted those left behind to have a happy and peaceful life, rather than wallowing in grief. Learning to accept and cherish the memories instead of trying to hold on to them is the best way to move on while still maintaining love for the person who has passed. Life is a long journey filled with joy, but also loss. As we age, we become more aware of the impermanence of life and the value of memories. However, clinging too much to the past can become a barrier that weighs down our souls. Keeping the mementos of the deceased is a way to remember, but what is more important is how to let those memories become the motivation to help us live more meaningfully, instead of becoming a burden that prevents us from moving forward. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It is an act of love towards ourselves, allowing ourselves to live fully in the present, connect with loved ones, and find joy in simple things. We can preserve memories by sharing stories, helping others, or spending time enjoying life in the way that the deceased would have wanted. Accepting, cherishing, and continuing to live well is the best way to be grateful to the people we love. We would love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us to continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.